I'm Bill Gelman, site runner for PlayNJ, here on the scene at Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City for a start of hopefully a weekly podcast covering the happenings of Atlantic City as we gear up for the prime summer season. Memorial Day weekend marks the unofficial start to summer.
I'm David Danzis, lead writer with PlayNJ, and we're actually here in Atlantic City at a really exciting time. As Bill mentioned, it's kind of the unofficial start of summer here in Atlantic City, but this is when things really get busy, a lot of things happening. And given that the past year, the casinos really have kind of been struggling to find their feet, a lot of things moving in the right direction. We've got capacity restrictions loosening up, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But now we're really starting to see Atlantic City come to life again. But before we get to that, why don't we talk a little bit about online gambling, and we'll go over the revenue numbers from last month. And Bill, April was a really good month in New Jersey for online casino.
Yes, it's third time in 4 months this year where we hit over $100 million in revenue, $107.7 million, not as high as previous month of 113.7, but still, you're talking about an industry that dates back to 2013, and we're over $400 million for the year already.
Has any other state had a $100 million month, or is New Jersey sort of alone in that atmosphere right now, that stratosphere?
Well, I know Michigan, which is fairly new, is, I'm not familiar with the numbers off the top of my head, but I know they've had some success.
They came close, I think. To my knowledge, as of April, New Jersey's still the only state to have a $100 million month in online casino gaming.
But not 1 month, 3 months.
Right, exactly. So, when we're talking about big numbers in New Jersey, there's another angle here, and that's sports betting, right?
Right.
And we've seen some really impressive months in sports betting. But April kind of opened our eyes a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't an all-time record. It wasn't, flirting with $1 billion, but it was flirting with $750 million for the month in handle, $748 million. What do you think led to seeing that really impressive number in the month of April when most people aren't paying as close attention to sports or don't think of big gambling sports like, say, pro football or college football? What contributed to that?
Yeah, I think one main thing is basketball. You have three, we're in the South Jersey, North Jersey area, so you have a lot of Philadelphia 76ers fans, Brooklyn Nets fans, New York Knicks fans, and they have the top 4 spots in the Eastern Conference. Sixers are in the Eastern Conference champion for the first time in 20 years when Allen Iverson was the star of the team.
Right, yep.
So it's been a long time waiting, and you have the start of baseball season.
I was going to say baseball, I think, probably contributed a little bit. It was kind of hard to tell how much baseball gets bet on,
right,
because from what I've heard from the bookmakers is that baseball is a popular sport for parlay bets,
right,
more so than a lot of other sports. And maybe that's just kind of the slower nature of the game, or just kind of harder to predict winners and losers, but baseball always seems to get a little more parlay action than single game action. So moving from sports betting, we also saw April revenue numbers for the casinos themselves. And as I mentioned, there's still some COVID restrictions in New Jersey, so the casinos are still not quite at pre-pandemic levels, is kind of how I like to describe it. It's not fair to compare it to 2020, casinos were closed. But $168 million in table and slot revenue in the month of April for the 9 Atlantic City casinos. This is your first time actually in a casino since they reopened, is that right? Or
no, I've been down a few times, not as often as pre-pandemic.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm here all the time, so I think my view's kind of skewed a little bit. Does it feel busier to you? Does it feel like there's some energy and some life coming back to Atlantic City?
I mean, I think there's definitely some excitement because you have all these new things opening up, which we'll get into a little bit, but you're also getting a week out from Memorial Day weekend, and it's Friday, which is start of a weekend in Atlantic City, warm weather, beach. But I think not necessarily this weekend, but I think in the coming weekends, I think you're going to see bigger crowds as we get before 4th of July, because we're back to the limitation, capacity limits have been lifted. And people, they want to be out. We've been sort of in a bubble for the last year plus.
And then you touched on what we're going to wrap up with, and that's some of the new things that maybe a visitor who hasn't been to Atlantic City in, say, a year or 18 months, that they're going to see for the first time when they get here. One of those is actually in a former Atlantic City casino, and I got a chance to check that out last week. That was the Lucky Snake Arcade and Sports Bar inside the Showboat Hotel. Really cool space, largest indoor arcade in New Jersey, with a boxing ring, speakeasy, and kind of party room. So a nice non-casino amenity to the city. But then we have some things opening up in the casinos. Just recently we had Doherty's Steakhouse and Raw Bar open up in resorts. We saw Jerry Longo's Meatballs and Martinis open up in Bally's, and we know there's something else heading that way. And then we're here at Harrah's, where actually there's a couple of things that are opening up. And we're going to tease you a little bit because our next guest is going to talk a little bit about some of the new things that are opening up here at Harrah's. Stay with us, guys. Thanks for joining. All right, joining us now is restaurant chef Kelly Wright. He runs the kitchen at Rum Point Crab House here at Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City.
I'm a native of Atlantic City. Come from a family of chefs. While I was younger, my father was chefs at local seafood restaurants. So most of my career was spent doing seafood. So it's been a great asset at Rum Point. The concept of Rum Point is to stick locally to the shore. What we have here to offer is fresh seafood and add a little twist. Not too many restaurants in the city have boils like we have, which is a combination of seafoods and seasoning and court bouillon liquid. So it's pretty interesting. We have a great team. We planned ahead. So we're pretty comfortable with what to expect for Memorial Day weekend. We got a lot of seasoned cooks in there. So everybody is pretty used to this time of the year coming. This is our shop. We tried to stick locally, right? So this is one of our clam buckets, and this is called the Atlantic City. You get a half a lobster, clams, andouille sausage, and snow crab, okay? We also offer sticking locally to what's going on here in the city. We have a salad called the Green Goddess, which is a recipe that's been around for a long time. And as you know, Atlantic City is a historical city. So Green Goddess has been around since about the 1920s. We also offer crab buckets, different portions, different sizes. You can get a pound or a half a pound or even a quarter pound. This is our snow crab entree. Save room for dessert. We have a great pastry chef here who does a great job. He makes all the pastries and desserts on premises daily, every day. So everything is cooked, baked pretty fresh. You know, when you get it and it comes to your table, strawberry shortcake is my favorite.
Chef Kelly, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Best of luck to you guys at Rum Point Crab House.
Thank you. You guys have a great evening. Thank you for having me.
Right, so joining us from Harrah's Resort Atlantic City is the Senior Vice President and General Manager of Harrah's Atlantic City, Gregg. Greg, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming to Harrah's.
So tell me a little bit about your background and how you ended up here in Atlantic City.
Sure. I did 20 years on Wall Street, so it's a little bit of a different background than the typical general manager. First of all, I'm from New Jersey, and I went to Rutgers, so total New Jerseyite. And then following a career in Wall Street, where I covered the gaming industry for 20 years, I was given the opportunity to join it a little over 3 years ago. And I was at the Tropicana here in Atlantic City. I also worked with our casinos in Waterloo, Iowa, and in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And then at the start of this year, they asked me to come over as a general manager of Harrah's, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here.
And, you know, obviously the timing is not ideal with everything going on in the world, but yet some of those the restrictions are lifting, particularly this week and heading into Memorial Day. Can you tell us a little bit about what's changing here at the property and what guests can expect when they come here?
Yeah, it's very exciting with some of the relaxation that's taking place on indoors. I mean, we're back now to 100% capacity in our restaurants, socially distanced. And also our bars have allowed to reopen as well, again, socially distanced. So that'll be a change. That's a very welcome change for all of our guests. In addition to that, our group business that we're able to do now, 250 people in one event, which is nice for us. That's a key part of our business, particularly midweek. So we're very appreciative to get that back. And then pretty soon we expect to have masks go away indoors for those people who are vaccinated, like myself.
And speaking of vaccinated, we got some news today from Harrah's parent company, Caesars Entertainment, that they're going to be holding vaccination clinics for their 3 properties here in Atlantic City. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We'll be doing this coming Saturday. We'll be at Caesars in Tropicana, and then at Harrah's on Saturday, June 5th, where it's open to all of our team members and family of team members, and it's going to be a clinic here through Atlantic Care, who are kind enough to operate it. And it's just a way of spreading the vaccine to everyone to just try to keep everybody safe.
And the timing of this is really important, right? Because as I mentioned, we're heading into Memorial Day, and obviously the summer in Atlantic City is very important. Can you tell me a little bit about why Memorial Day weekend specifically, and then kind of the months that follow, why this is so important to this area and this city?
It's always been the official start to summer is Memorial Day. Everybody's tired of being, and in normal times, tired of being cooped up in their house all winter. You want to get back to the beach. The weather's finally turning. It's you can see summers here, and particularly in a COVID situation where for so long everybody's been working out of their homes, that we're very excited that Memorial Day start the summer, and we think Atlantic City is going to have a great summer across the city, and we're very excited, and especially with all the changes that we've had here at Harrah's, where all of our improvements, we're fired up and ready to go with Memorial Day.
Yeah, and let's jump right into that, right? Because as I mentioned, your parent company, Caesars Entertainment, has committed to spend about $400 million here in Atlantic City across their 3 properties, including a pretty significant portion here at Harrah's. And we're already seeing some of that taking place. Tell me a little bit about some of the new things that are happening for this summer.
Happy to. Yes, $400 million across the 3 properties. Here at Harrah's, which you can already see, we have a brand new restaurant, Rum Point, that opened up a couple weeks ago. It's a crab house. We've got a brand new an expansion to our popular lobby bar, so you can see that when you come here. There's new carpeting on the casino floor, which was badly needed. We'll be opening on Memorial Day weekend. We expect to open our Baywalk, which is an outdoor bar, and we'll have live music going out there as well. Really taking advantage of our spectacular views of the bay. One of the perhaps the only nice thing that came out of COVID was that we realized that our guests enjoy being outdoors, and for the first time we're going to have a full outdoor bar and outdoor area here, permanent area here on the property. We'll also be Memorial Day weekend reopening our Pool After Dark as a restaurant, and then leading into socially distanced entertainment afterwards. And then we also have our spa reopening, which we're excited about that. And just so many exciting things taking place here at the property, and we're turning everything back on again. And it's great to see. Before
I let you go, I want to ask you about one thing. Not too long ago, you guys opened up the first electronics craps table here in Atlantic City. And I had a chance to actually try it out the day it opened, and I gotta tell you, I really, really enjoyed it. Are we going to see more things like that here at Harrah's and across the 3 Caesars properties in Atlantic City?
Absolutely. I agree with you. That is a fun game, and it's showing up it's proven popular with our guests, and it's worked well for us in other markets. Tropicana has a full section of those games as well. I expect you'll see more. And we've got partnerships with a lot of gaming suppliers. I think you're going to see some exclusive content here at the 3 Caesars properties that we're pretty excited about. Excited for the city, including the craps game, which is first in New Jersey.
Excellent. Gregg, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for coming to Harrah's.